Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and today I'm going to be reviewing Crowbar, The Rangers at Pointe-du-Hoc. This is designed by Herman Lettman and published by Flying Pig Games. This is a review copy, so keep that in mind. Alright, so let's have a quick overview of Crowbar. As you can see, this game is on this huge map with these big luxurious chits. It's pretty fun, but I will tell you it is a table hog. But the goal of this game is you are helping the Rangers of Fox Company, Dog Company, and Easy Company get up onto the beach, scale these cliffs, and then work your way through all these German units in pursuit of victory points. But how do you get victory points? That's based on the actual conditions of their mission to find and clear out German gun emplacements that threatened Omaha Beach. So if you've played something like D-Day at Omaha Beach or played something like D-Day Dice, where you are charging up the beach and you are hoping for the best, well, the Rangers at Pointe-du-Hoc were sent in to get rid of some of the machine guns that were a danger to those soldiers' lives. And so in this game, you have basically 3 days from June 6th to 8th with a running time increment track to get your stuff done. So you're going to charge up this beach, get up the cliff, look at all of these possible gun location tokens and see if you can find all the guns. Meanwhile, you're also going to be taking prisoners of war by defeating German units, and those will get you victory points as well. Additionally, you have the option of building roadblocks up here, which is also something that historically happened. There is a pretty long setup for this because, as you can see, there's a bunch of chits stacked everywhere, and you also do some initial die rolls to see how far towards the beach your Rangers have already gotten at the official start of the game. So some of my guys are kind of lagging back here. Some of them have been shaken up. Others are very, very close, and others have made it all the way to the cliff face, at which point they eject this blue part. This is like the boat that carries them forward, and it's also got like a little gun on it that fires into the cliff, and you're seeing if you can collapse some of the cliff to make it easier to get a grip. So these guys did not have such good luck with that. They're going to have to scale the cliff the hard way, but we have a shaky hold here and a firm one here, which is good because the command bunker is already difficult to get into, so that's a relief, actually. But now that we're in normal turns, there are slightly different rules for being on the sea, being on the beach, and being up the cliff. So I'm just going to give you the basics of any state of this game. So the thing that you're going to be doing mostly is activating each unit that you have on the board. So you've got 12 Ranger units across 3 companies. And basically going one company at a time, you're going to activate each Ranger unit in that company. And for each of those Ranger units, you're going to, one at a time, roll these movement dice. So the green one has the best set of results, so you'll probably always roll it first. But sometimes you'll get to advance. Sometimes you'll draw an event card that usually advances the time at a minimum. And depending on the results you get, sometimes you just get to advance for free. Other times you get hit. Then the yellow die has some slightly nastier results, including one that makes you stop your activation altogether. So, you might be thinking, oh, I'm going to make it all the way up to the beach. And then, nope. Got to stop and drift at the sea for a while. Brutal. Then you have this red die that has even meaner results like stop and also advanced time, drawn event. So mean. And then you can get shaken up. And then the black die has some good results on it, but also some of the worst in the game, such as being routed. So this is sort of a push your luck game where you're looking at your dice, you're thinking about what order you want to activate each unit in. You're thinking about your odds of getting them where you need them to go. And once you get deep enough into your dice pool, you're basically risking that your turn or the activation for that particular Ranger unit will end before you get to really finish what it is you wanted to do. You've also got these rally points back here, so you can mark who has been activated using your rally point. But the other thing that the rally point does is it kind of shows the furthest place that you can be pushed back to. So in this part of the game, you can just kind of wash away. But then once you get up the cliff, your rally point will automatically advance to the top of the cliff. So there are ways to essentially indicate that you've consolidated as far as a specific point on the map. In addition to these dice, there are special actions that you can perform. There are leaders attached to some of these units. So for example, here we've got our battalion commander Rudder. And there are just a few things you can do throughout, not as many as you'll want, to modify your die rolls and see how well you can do. One of the other aspects of this game that's sort of fun is there's a lot of things you don't know until you approach that point on the map. So for example, these guys are pinned down, and this is also partially through setup. So at the start of the game, you perform Operation Flash Lamp, which is essentially bombardment in advance of you trying to get your guys out here onto this beach and up the cliff. So these are chits that have already been resolved. Some of the units here have already taken damage. And then there are other units still that will have incoming fire markers on them, but we don't know whether they're hits or not yet until we actually get there. You will also, of course, be resolving combat, and for that you have these lovely dice. The gray ones are German, the green ones are American. Good luck getting to go your way. So at its heart, this is a die rolling push your luck game where you are trying to activate these different units, get them as far up as possible, help them in combat, and hope for the best. But on top of that, there is some layering and some decision making that you have to learn in order to get the most out of the game. And so you want to be thinking about the order in which you want to activate your companies, the order in which you want to activate each unit within the company. You're playing your odds on success in combat. You need to figure out how to use your special actions to their best effect because you don't want to waste them on something stupid and then really need them later. And then you're also kind of playing a hunt down, chase down game where you're trying to find which of these gun emplacements are real gun emplacements. And of course, some of them have enemies parked on top of them. This represents a location where they're actually found. And so there's a whole bunch of tokens placed here to see if those will be the ones. But each game you really don't know. And there's also a bit of randomization in the strength of the various units that go out on the map in initial setup. So every game's a little bit different, but you still have that same core engine of rolling the dice, choosing how to distribute them, choosing how far to push your luck, knowing when to keep going, and knowing when to stop. But of course, when you're rolling the dice, you never fully know, do you? So that is Crowbar, the Rangers at Pointe-du-Hoc. Let's go ahead and have some final thoughts. All right, so now for some final thoughts. As you might guess, I was predisposed to like Crowbar, but that's because I liked the system of Herman Lettman's other game from Worthington, In Magnificent Style, and Crowbar is kind of a system spiritual successor to it. I didn't really like the theme of In Magnificent Style, as you'll know from watching my review. However, I did really like the game system, and I wanted to see it implemented elsewhere, and Crowbar absolutely does that for me. So, what worked about the changes and what didn't work? I guess that's what the review's for. All right, so I'm going to start with the things that I really liked. Once again, I really just generally like the push your luck system. I thought it was fun that instead of numbered dice where I had to keep consulting a chart to know what I was allowed to do, these Crowbar has custom dice. So when you roll it and you get the results, instead of being like, okay, let me add these up and look at the chart, which you do have to do in Magnificent Style, then instead, you just see the picture results of what it is you're supposed to do, and it makes that step like move a little faster. It's snappier. And I did really enjoy the kind of drama of rolling a die at a time and figure out, okay, do I want to stop here? Do I want to save up some advances? Oh crap, I rolled a stop sign. And so there's like a bit of drama to the proceedings that I really enjoyed. And I really did want to push it a lot, and the game makes you want to do that, which I appreciated. I also really enjoyed the gun hunt aspect of the game. So those little, is this a possible gun location tokens that you spread out across the board? You're incentivized to try to get to those as quickly as possible and see what's underneath. But things may or may not work out for you. You get more points for making it there early, so the desire to push yourself is there. But they might be decoys, they might not be anything at all. And so, you have this kind of drama of like, oh, I know these gun tokens are here. Let me just try to get there. It really makes you have a different game every time because you don't know where those tokens are. It makes you really care about the entire board state. You want to cover it all. And then the surprise of flipping the tokens over is like super fun for me. I really enjoyed it. The other thing I liked was the changes that were made to kind of consolidating your position. So in Magnificent Style, you have a rally point that you can kind of move up to where you are. And it basically represents the furthest point to which you can be pushed back on the game board. But in Crowbar, you actually get some options with your consolidate step. So if at the beginning of a turn you choose to consolidate, you get to actually do one of a number of different things. And I thought that was really neat. So you can move your rally point up, or you can get rid of a shaken or a pinned marker, which may be what you actually need to do. You can bring your unit up by a couple of strength points, which is extremely handy if you're really in it and you need to recover a little bit. And you can do something fun that is establish Rudder's HQ, which I will let you discover for yourself as you play the game. So why are these things important? I'll let you solve that mystery by playing Crowbar. So those were things that I really liked. In a lot of ways, I feel like Crowbar took the base structure of In Magnificent Style and layered on some stuff that I really thought was innovative and cool on top of that push your luck system that is just inherently fun. At the same time, there were also some things about Crowbar that I'm not sure were as efficient as the original In Magnificent Style setup, and made the game take longer and could make it a bit more frustrating. So the main one for me is I think there's some like user experience issues with the game. The main one is that the game board is huge. It's a huge table hog. And you've got these really big counters that look awesome, but you have to stack them in order for them to fit in the squares. And so I had like these huge, like 4 chit stacks that I had to remember what was in them. And so that means that you spend a lot of time kind of looking at the column, like, okay, what's here again? You don't have as great of a sense of the board state or exactly what's where without constantly messing with those stacks of chits to remember what is in the pile. And I thought that personally that was kind of vexing. The other thing is that I really admire Herman Lutman's commitment to bringing aspects of the real history to life, but I do think that in the case of Crowbar, we might have had a couple too many sets of little rules that make the game clunkier to play. So specifically, I thought setup took forever. I had a hard time figuring out where the chits were, which I just mentioned. And also because the game is divided into sea, beach, kind of cliff zones, you have slightly different rules for each zone. And also before you even start to play, there's like a post setup thing where you roll the dice and they mean something different than they normally do, and you like advance your rangers for the first time. So it eventually starts to pile on and feel like there are lots of little exceptions and lots of little things to keep track of. I don't like keeping track of that stuff because I'm lazy. I'm sure there are people who are perfectly happy with that. But I do wish that there were aspects of this game that are a little bit more streamlined, where I wasn't having to keep track of stuff. What I really want to do is like go, go, go. I want to roll those dice. I want to push my luck. I want to groan when I mess up. I want to laugh when like, ha, I got you. When I take out a machine gun nest, like that's what I really want to be doing. And so anything that impedes that at all, I find vexing. That said, I really, really enjoy this game. I think it's fun. I think that if you have the table space to set it up, the Flying Pig like production values are very good. The dice are really nice. The chits feel really good. They make a really satisfying like cardboard click sound when you put them down on that board. It's a very nice gameplay experience overall. And the thrill of like constantly rolling your dice and hoping for the best is great. That said, I will tell you this is a dice game. If you don't want to push your luck, or you don't want to risk having some perfectly nice rangers get stuck for a couple turns because you rolled bad, then this game might frustrate you. I will remind you, however, that you are playing solo, and if this is like your third turn where a certain unit doesn't move, nobody's going to notice if you just change the die to a different result. I'm just saying. But no, seriously. This game is a fun re-implementation of a system that I liked. It does a good job of integrating that system with the situation of the Rangers at Pointe-du-Lac and their search for guns and their need to get up a cliff face. And so overall, I was very happy with the experience. I just wish that the setup and some of the procedural stuff was as snappy and fun and dramatic as the die rolls themselves. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, and most of all, happy gaming.